What is up, YouTube? This week I'm out in the shop because I need to get this project done. So this is a 76 Firebird. I think I have some pictures and stuff on a couple previous videos, but it's a friend of mine's, and I got this like 5 years ago. I worked on it and wasn't supposed to take that long. Kept finding more and more problems, and eventually I got burned out on it. But so when I got it, the engine was had so much blow by it wouldn't run. So I pulled the engine out and rebuilt it. I pulled the transmission out because it was jumping out of second gear, and replaced second gear, the dog gear, replaced synchronizers, and a full gasket set. And engine I got bored out 30 over, new pistons for it. Pretty much just put it back together. Rebuilt the carburetor, had to put a new alternator on it, rewired everything. See the air filter still needs to be painted, but other than that, pretty much everything's done under here. I painted under the hood, so that's all painted. Painted the radiator support, and pulled the frame out and stripped it down. It was pretty rusty, and painted it with some frame paint. Replaced all the bushings, ball joints, and I think that's pretty much it here. Then I kind of the intentions at that point, the car should have been drivable, was to give it back to the owner, but he unfortunately had some health issues and told me just to go ahead and keep it and paint it, which I wasn't really sure if I was going to do originally, but kept it, stripped it down. Pulled the interior out. The interior is really nice in here. So the floors had some holes in it, so we pulled the carpet out. I cut the holes out and welded patches in, and got a new carpet kit for it. The seats had already been recovered. I got a new shifter knob down there. It's pretty nice. The dash is a little cracked up. Probably get a cover for it. And so that's what I did in there. And then the body, the paint was in really bad shape. It had lacquer paint, and the paint had cracked, kind of like a desert kind of pattern. And so I had to strip the whole car down. And then, of course, everywhere it cracked, it rusted. So I had to get all the rust off the car, and had to do body work on it, fix some dents, and epoxy primered it, high build primer, blocked it, high build primered it again. And that's pretty much where the outside is now. Rims were in pretty bad shape, so I got all the rust off of them and painted them actually with a Eastwood kit. The owner's brother bought him an Eastwood tire kit or rim kit for his birthday one year, or Christmas or something. So I did that, and went ahead and painted under the trunk lid, under the hood, painted all the door jambs, painted around under the hood, wiper cowl. See if I can get the door open. Yes, the door jambs are painted. So basically what's left to be done is I've got accessories, tail lights, mirrors, the wing that goes on the back, the spoiler. Need to sand all that down, put some sealer on it, and paint that. Got a over here's the grill, and that piece right there goes between the back window and the trunk. That needs to be painted. And I've got front and back bumpers there over in the other shop, so I need to get those over here. So I need to sand all this stuff down so I can seal it and paint it. Then after that, there's a little bit of wiring left to do over here. It's just for the air conditioner, so I need to wire that up and put some wire loom on it, make it look nice. And that's probably about it. Just have to paint it after that. So today I'm gonna gather parts, get everything in here, make sure I have all the parts I need to paint so I can start sanding them, and hopefully knock some of that out this week. So a couple days ago I went and put the charger on this, get the battery charged up. It's been sitting for a couple months, so imagine the float is empty in the carburetor, but let's see if we can get it to crank up. Pretty good. I spent a lot of time this winter trying to get it running good. I actually broke one of the needles when I put the carburetor back together and didn't realize it. Never have really been able to get it to run good until this winter. So. This is my main shop where I do my woodworking and things like that. My Opti shop set up over here. So I built these shelves a couple years ago to store a lot of stuff. And pretty much this whole center section, or a lot of it, is parts for the Firebird, which is mostly just the old parts that came off of it now. But along the top, that's where the windows are, the bumper. So need to get up there and see what's up there. Get all that stuff down and moved over to the other shop. Alright, let's see what we have up here. Okay, so there's the front bumper. It's already primered. The back bumper's behind it. You can see the, maybe not, I was thinking that was cracked. That might just be spider webs. This is rubber bumpers, and there was some issues with it, and I sanded it down and kind of did some stuff to it, and I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up, but it's been sitting up here for years, so we can see how it looks. If you look at the back bumper, zoom in, kind of see that pattern. That's what the whole car was like, and everywhere you can see white is a crack, and it rusted at every single one of those spots on the car. So I have to sand that bumper down. This is the wing. The bumper's behind it, so I need to get those down. And over here I just have the two side windows. So this is the front bumper that was originally on there when I got the car. See, it's pretty cracked up on the sides. It wasn't that bad. I kind of fell apart, but But here's one of the sides that came off, and he gave me this stuff. Told me to use that to glue it together, and he gave me another bumper that was in better shape, which is what I used. But it still had one side that was broken. So I did a little test repair here where I cut it in half and then I glued it back together with this. I wasn't really sure what to do with this. I didn't want to just glue two parts together because I figured that would not last long. So what I did is I chamfered the edges, kind of like you would for a welder, so I could fill it in on both sides. And I stuck metal plates through the middle of it and glued those in there. They're about 3 inches long, so it has a metal kind of support. And then I filled it in with this. And then for the bodywork side, since it's rubber, I don't want it to, can't put body filler on it. I just put some more of this on and wiped it on like body filler and sanded it. Sanded okay. Of course, it pitted really bad, but I just kept doing it until I built it up. And this was my test piece, and it turned out pretty good. So that's what's going on the other bumper. And I also have another grill over here he gave me. Just kind of gave me parts and said use what's better. So his original grill was better, but this one had better chrome, I guess, bezels around the headlights. So I took those off of here so we can use them on the car. So here's the bumper I repaired, and this is the side I repaired. Look on the inside, you can see the seam. I don't know if you can tell, it's a little rough and needs some more work, but I put a bunch of primer on it so I can use it to fill in some of the imperfections. But as we were kind of looking at it in the shop, you can see the high build primer cracked, and that's just because this bumper is soft. It's a pretty thick coating of primer, so I'm gonna have to sand it off. Probably not all the way down to the rubber like this bumper, but till I get to where it's not cracked. And instead of putting high build primer on it, I think I'm just going to put a sealer on it, keep it a little thinner, and then just paint over that. So that's the plan for those two at least. These this stuff's fiberglass, and I'd rather not sand down to the fiberglass. I don't know how thick the gel coat is. I'll just kind of have to play it by ear. But I may have to prime it, or I may be able to just seal it and paint it. So I'll just have to figure that out. So we got tail lights. These are the side pieces for the spoiler. These are the two grills for the hood. And just some other parts that were painted. Not necessarily going to paint them. It's the little grills for the corner lights and the rear view mirrors. And then over here, we already saw the grill and that piece right there. And here I have the spoiler. So you sand that down, finish sanding that down, sand that down, sand all that stuff down. And this is lacquer paint, so I need to get at least the paint off. Like I said, I stripped the car to metal, so everything's gonna be new there. This will still have some primer and stuff from before left behind, but that's a lot easier to fix than any of this. So I'm just gonna try to make this stuff look as good as it can with what we have, but the body should be perfect. It should look really good.